This is my storyboard on the development of electricity throughout history. On the right, you will see Benjamin Franklin in his famous kite experiment, where he demonstrated that lightning and electricity were of the same nature, and the lightning rod would later be developed using his experiment. The creation and development of electricity has transformed the way society is viewed and functions, from the creation of the light bulb to military advancements, the internet, and day-to-day life. Electricity has and will forever shape the future of human evolution and society. The rise of the Industrial Revolution brought many skilled workers and inventors into the city in hopes for development. However, due to the many practices and length of time any one item needed in order to be produced, many inventors who researched into electricity, such as the famous Michael Faraday and James Maxwell, laid groundworks for electromagnetic induction and electromagnetism, ultimately starting the development of electric generators and motors within the factories. On the left, you will see the first electric generator by Michael Faraday, which is the first instrument that would be created. And on the right, you will see how James Maxwell has discovered the electromagnetism. Due to Faraday and Maxwell's groundwork in electricity, other inventors such as Thomas Davenport and Warner Siemens further developed the practical use of electric generators and motors, which then began widely used within factories, leading to further growth of electrical appliances, lighting, and machines. However, it still had more growth and research to be done to further capitalize on the full use of electricity. As you can see in this picture, these were the mills in Massachusetts that were first used in order to create clothes. So you can see that their developments using the electricity to power generators and motors and wheels, and how it can be developed throughout society, especially within factories where they needed more skilled workers on different machines to produce more. The War of the Currents. The War of the Currents was a huge step forward for the development of electricity. The inventors that made this possible was the famous Thomas Edison, which you will see on the left, and Nikola Tesla on the right. Thomas Edison's innovation on direct current (DC) led to the creation of the light bulb, as well as electrical infrastructure such as power grid and fuses. On the other hand, Nikola Tesla's inventions on alternating current (AC) allowed electricity to be carried long distances, leading to the creation of the AC motor, hydroelectric plant, and wireless electricity. Many inventors took, based on their groundwork on the fields of electricity, were able to produce different inventions using their groundwork. So that you have Nikola Tesla on the right, on Thomas Edison on the left. It's very interesting how they were able to create and think of such possibilities during their time. However, they were limited to technology. Due to Tesla's and Edison's innovations, as I said earlier, and development of electricity, famous inventor Guglielmo Marconi took it another step further and developed the first wireless telegraph and radio. He would later open up a factory and would receive the first transatlantic radio signal. This was a huge step for electricity and its practical use in day-to-day life. However, it would later become the greatest weapon for future wars. As you can see, this is Guglielmo Marconi, and this was the first telegraph radio using electricity. Once he created this invention, he had someone stationed across the transatlantic, where he would first send the first signal back and forth, which was at the time in Morse code. However, this was a huge step forward. During World War I, many countries took Marconi's use of wireless radio and developed it further so that it could be used in the war for better strategic movements. The creation of the field telephone and spark gap transmitters that were used during World War enabled trench warfare to be widely used, as well as military applications such as Morse code to soldiers, ships, and planes. As you can see, this is a picture of World War I, the soldiers, and on the right is the first field telephone, or the field telephone itself. and how it looked during the time. Because of the developments of electricity all the way from Benjamin Franklin to Nikola Tesla to Faraday to Marconi, now during World War One, they were able to have better strategic movements on the battlefield and were able to position themselves and connect to the base, which greatly helped militaries, but it also did make the wars more harder, you could say, on both sides due to this invention. After World War One took place, the military saw the huge potential that electricity and its many applications that could be used to benefit them during a war. Thus, World War Two came around, and the use of electricity took another step forward, and the development of electricity-powered radar systems took place. With the use of electromagnetic waves, the radar system was created which would use the high-frequency waves that bounce off objects to find objects in water. This took naval warfare a huge step forward, later influencing aircrafts and the ability to detect at night. So on the right, you will see the old kinds of submarines and how they were used and how they were made, built. And on the left, you will see how they would use um, electricity to create high frequency signals to detect any objects, which is they would use coordinates using this kind of a compass like system. After World War II and the invention of radar for naval warfare, its practical use was taken further and developed so that radar could be used for air carriers, track weather, and even the idea of GPS using wavelengths. Though it wasn't at perfection yet, electricity and radar was seen as huge potential in many aspects of the life besides war. So after they had saw the potential that electricity could create something like radar to detect unseeable things with the naked eye at the time, they wanted to take that even further and use that so that they could do air warfare and even advance the radio signal so that it could be advanced even further on more better submarines, especially during World War II, where both Germany and the U.S. were fighting for over the Atlantic for the sea at the time. The hydroelectric power plant was the very first large-scale renewable energy source. Thanks to Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse, the first power plant was created, now known as Niagara Falls, a famous tourist attraction. The power plant harnessed the energy of flowing water, which then generated electricity, which supplied factories and cities. However, this wasn't the only known power plant. The Hoover Dam was the next step in gathering electricity using the flow of water. So now, throughout time, as electricity was used to create different inventions, and different inventors took the groundworks for different inventions to create even more inventions. Here comes the power plant. Now, the very first large-scale renewable energy source. This changed the game on the way they were using electricity before, and now they can see that it can power their cities. So next would be the Hoover Dam, which would then be created, but everyone knows Niagara Falls. The development of electricity has completely changed society and the lives of humans. Electricity will always remain an important factor in transportation, factories, and the digital world. From Faraday's research on the use of electricity to the society we live in today, each electricity has and will continue to change further generations. And these further generations will take the developments we have today and further develop its practical use as we have done from generations before. So as you can see in these pictures, using electricities, it has allowed us to create tanks. It allowed us to create more proper or more safe grid lines, as well as electrical appliances in the house. So, we have built a lot from the start of electricity, and we have made it into hotels, we have made it into cities, we have made it to transportation, to airplanes, to our military. We will continue to keep progressing and seeing the many possibilities and potentials of electricity.